Okay, so I was the first person in the entire world to sell a voice AI agency. And when I first started, I was doing a lot of cold calling in order to close those $5,000 AI receptionist deals. And a few days ago, I actually posted a video of myself doing those cold calls, and it kind of blew up. And so I had a ton of people messaging me and saying, okay, I'm trying to do cold calls, but I don't know how to actually make it work. How do I create a script that will actually convert on these calls? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to create your own script that will actually work. This is a proven framework. It works for voice AI. So listen closely, and I'm going to get right into it. So here are a few of the comments from the other day, but I had a bunch of them, and I had a lot of people DMing me as well. I don't know what my script is. They're doing, 60 calls already, but they need some tips. And so first, I'm going to go over the general structure that you want to use for all of your scripts. After I go over the general structure, I'm going to show you some examples that are really good that you guys can use or steal and change. And then I'm going to go over how to actually make the demos that you do book convert. So I'm going to go over all of that in this video. So starting off, the universal script structure for all angles. First of all, I'm going to run through this quick, but first you have the hook. So this is the first 10 seconds. This is where you name yourself, you set a time expectation, or you give a compliment, or you deliver some kind of one-line value prop so that people understand exactly why you're calling them. So these first 10 seconds, you need to make them interested. This is the most important part of the entire script. This is the most important part of anything you'll ever do. The first 10 seconds, the hook, for all content, all ads, all cold calling, everything. It is the most important. Because if you don't get people at the top of the funnel, you're not going to get them at the bottom. And you can think of cold calling as one big funnel where the first 10 seconds is all the way at the top, and then you go all the way down until you book that demo. So the second is the bridge. So this is where you add some context or proof. So you can give like a really brief case study, like a one-liner case study, or you can explain the mechanism of how the AI actually works. So basically, after you introduce yourself, you're like, hey, I'm giving you a call because I'm working with other businesses in the area and we're doing da 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 da. Then you want to add some kind of bridge. So you can just do, we actually worked with a company right next to you and we saved them $3,000 a month by implementing AI Receptionist. And then you can move on from there. The next is the question. So after you've given them a value proposition, which means they know what your value is, they know why you're calling them, the next step is to ask a question. You in sales do not want to be talking all the time. The best salesmen talk the least often, okay? So you want the other person to be telling you why your product is good. That's how you make a sale. And so when you're talking with them, the first thing you should do after they know why you're calling, because you can't do this up front, is you should ask them a question. So it can be a yes or no just to get them going, just to make them a little more warm. And then later on, you can ask them more open-ended questions. But you want to ask them something that reveals a pain or a gap that you are going to be able to fill. And so, for example, if I were to ask somebody, hey, I'm just wondering, I know you have human receptionists right now. Is it a little hard to manage them sometimes? That's one example. There's plenty of examples. Or is it a little expensive, or is it a little time consuming, or doesn't it suck that people call in after hours and it just goes straight to voicemail? Whatever it is, right? It's a yes or no, and it shows them that there's a problem, and they're admitting to that problem when they say yes. Now, if they say no, then you got to go to objection handling, and we'll talk about that in another video. Okay, so then the listening phase. Again, you want to listen as much as possible and talk as little as possible. A lot of people make this mistake when they're doing sales. You need to be the one listening. So let them talk about their challenges or systems or frustrations and actually take notes on the pain points. So like if they say, oh yeah, we're missing 20 calls a day or 20 calls a month, whatever. We have one person leave every 6 months. Take notes on that so you can use it later on to close that sale. Every single number they give you is a piece of ammo that you can use to sell them later on. And next is the soft transition. So this is basically saying like, hey, can I pitch you? Because after you go through this, you ask the question, yeah, you could go straight into the pitch, but it's more respectful and they'll typically like you better if you just kind of ask them. So like, hey, based on what you're saying, can I show you what some other businesses around you are doing to solve that? That's just one example. But it's just like a little micro commitment from them that says, yeah, I will be pitched by you because this is interesting. Once they've agreed to that, then you want to go into the demo offer. So again, you're not trying to be like, okay, great, it's $3,000. I'm gonna send you a link right now and we'll get started. No, never do that. Do not try to sell it on the phone. What you should be doing is offering them a demo or an audit. So with a demo, this is what I do. You literally just get on a Zoom call with them, or you could even just have the AI call them, whatever. And they listen to it. They talk to it. They have a conversation with it. One of the best ways to do this is to have an agent that is built for their industry and have them demo that. They'd love that thing. They love it. Every time I demo it for somebody, they love it when I use Nova Echo. So I'm going to talk about it later on because the technology you use makes a really big difference on how successful these demos are. I'll talk about that at the end. This next is an audit where you can actually go through their business, look at all of the math, and see how much money this would save them. Now, I don't recommend the audit unless you already have experience here or you are on the older side and you have other experience in business in general. And by older, I say that as a young person. So if you're over like 35 or so, which is not old, just want to be clear, but if you're over like 35, then I would recommend doing the audit. But if you're a kid, and you're trying to sell this and you don't have business experience in the past, people aren't going to take you seriously when you show them an audit. So show them the demo. Okay, moving forward, here are some examples of how you can actually do this. The first is the lost revenue hook. So we start with respect plus a speed commitment. So I'm going to go over an example of this shortly, but this is kind of saying like, hey, I'm not going to take too much of your time. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 60 seconds, like whatever it is. Just saying, hey, there's a speed commitment here. I'm not trying to waste your time. I don't want my time wasted. Let's just get this over with. But let's do it together. And what that does is it lowers their guard because they're not going to be like, oh my God, I want to be on this phone for 20 minutes with the salesperson. They're going to be like, okay, cool, 60 seconds. If it's good, it could change my life. If it's bad, it's only 60 seconds. And so the risk goes down, which makes it more worthwhile for them to stay on that call. So it lowers guard a ton. Next is the quantified value proposition. Value proposition means what's your proposition of value, right? And so what this does is it gives them an immediate mental math equation to do on their revenue. So if your value prop is, I save companies 60% on their receptionist costs, I don't know, whatever it is, that's immediate mental math. They'll go, okay, spending $8,000 a month on receptionist. If they're saving me 60%, then I'm only gonna have to pay $3,000 or whatever it is. That's huge. Because as soon as you say that, they're like, okay, I only have to give this guy 45 more seconds and he could save me $5,000 a month. That's what they're thinking subconsciously, even if you didn't say it yet, right? Next is the discovery question. Like I spoke about before, you need to get that question asked and you're going to force them to admit current systems have gaps, that their current systems have gaps. You're going to force them to say, yes, there's a problem with what I'm doing now. Yes, it is expensive. And then you're going to ask for that demo. Now, an example of this would be something like, hey, James, this is Joey. I know you're busy. I'll make it quick. I basically help other roofing companies recover lost jobs from missed calls. A quick question. When you get overflow calls, do they go to voicemail or a forwarded cell? There you go. So, hey, I know you're busy. I'll make it quick. You're saying, I'm going to make this quick. Value proposition. I help roofer companies, or whatever, roofers, recover lost jobs from missed calls. Okay. Then they're going, cool. I am losing $20K a month because of missed calls. Quick question. And then you go right into it. And then they're going to say, oh, yes, you got them. Now you're already here. Now you can just ask them more discovery questions, show them the AI system, and then ask for the demo. You're good. Okay, next example, the competitive pressure angle. So this is another really good one. I like this one. First, it's the industry trend observation. So this is showing them that there's other people in their space, in their industry, in their area, whatever, that are using this technology. And so those companies are going to beat them. Now, what this does is it establishes credibility and urgency because it's like, okay, they know that you know what's going on around them better than they do. Credibility. And then they go, hold on, my competitors are doing this. I need to do this right now. Otherwise, they're going to take me over. So that's a great hook. Then we have the peer comparison. So then you directly compare them to somebody that's near them. And that creates, a subtle competitive anxiety. It's the same thing. They're going, okay, I need to do this really fast. It's speed, speed, speed. And that's what you want. Then the status check question, So you make them reveal where they stand in that status hierarchy within their competitive community. So you go, okay, are you using this yet? And if they say no, they're under the people that are subconsciously. People don't like that. They want to have higher status. So they'll naturally chase the thing that's going to give them that higher status. And then, of course, you ask for the demo. So an example of this would be something like, James, this is Joey. Quick heads up. I'm seeing a lot of people in the roofing industry in Tennessee switching to AI phone systems to handle their front desk. It basically lets them compete 24/7 and it cuts costs for overhead by 60 to 80%. So it's becoming the standard pretty fast. I was curious, are you guys already using something like this or are you still running traditional staff? There you go. You've done all the steps in 3 sentences. Beautiful. Now, once you've done these and you've gotten that, you've asked for the demo, they've gone, sure, let's do it. And you got that demo booked. Whether you're going to send the AI call in or you guys are going to hop on a Zoom, or even better, if you're going to go in person and talk to them, right? Once that thing is booked and you got it, you need to kill it. Because if you mess up the demos, all of that was for nothing. Like that's the worst. You do 200 cold calls because you're just starting out, you're a beginner. You finally get that first demo and then you completely mess it up and you have to do it all over again. That sucks. And it really sucks when it's your first one, because if you close that first demo, you're going to be so motivated to keep cold calling it. It's not even going to be funny. When you make $5,000 immediately, when you're not used to that kind of money, you are going to be so motivated to keep calling. If you don't and you mess it up and the person goes goodbye, your motivation is going to tank and you'll be less likely to complete the next 200 cold calls. So that first demo is arguably the most important one in the entire business life that you are going to have within Voice AI. So how do we ace that demo? Because that's so damn important. Okay, so how to make the demos you do get count. 2 words, Nova Echo. Okay, now I'm sure some of you have heard of Retail or Vappy or all these other platforms for Voice AI. The most human sounding platform, the one that has the most features, the one that is the least confusing for you to build agents on, and the one that's the most reliable for companies, and the one that has the most custom integrations for restaurants and all kinds of other companies that have different CRM systems, is Nova Echo, period. Nova Echo has plenty of plans, some of which you can pay a low monthly subscription, get access to everything, and you don't need to integrate your own LLM and this, that, and the other. No, everything is there for you in the best possible setup, and you can just use it. And you can just build great agents. Or Nova Echo's also recently released a new program for people that don't have the money yet, where you can actually get started with them for free, and they'll do a revenue share with you for the deals that you close, meaning that they only get paid when you get paid by clients. So they're highly incentivized and only incentivized to get you making money, which is why they help you with the sales and customer service and marketing of this entire Voice AI agency. So if you're going to start this, do it right. Like, it's not more expensive. I just told you there's a free option. Use Nova Echo. There's going to be a link in the description. Now, once you've done that, you'll be able to build a really, really good demo specifically for their industry on Nova Echo. They're going to call it. They're going to be like, wow, this sounds just like a human. That's what we get every time. Wow, this sounds just like a human. And as soon as they say that, they are going to be blown away. And they're going to be like, okay, let's go over pricing. And that's where you go over pricing, which I'll talk about in another video as well. Now, I want to know, do you guys want to see a video of where I explain how to handle objections when you're doing these cold calls? Because I first want to just give you guys a framework for how to create a script. But if you also want to see a video about objections, drop a comment and I'll make one really, really good just for you guys. Have a great day.